who are the underprivileged children and what fueled this mission?
These children that you see on the streets in the slums, like, they are so talented, they are so gifted, and in fact each and every one of us is talented, but it takes a moment of realization or even engaging in certain activities to determine what you're good at or what you love to do. But if you don't even have the chance at all, there's not like opportunity for you. Some of the girls that told us stories of how they have to walk miles to fetch water before they come to school to get some coins so that they can buy sanitary towels, and those were so heartbreaking. I thought that beyond giving children relief items, how can we empower them so that their circumstances don't really define where they are supposed to be in life? And I say this because you give the child the food, the food will finish, the child will eat it, and that's it. But then we talk about the child's person, the child's intellect, the child's potential. And so I thought that rather than giving them, which we still do anyway, it's all embedded, but instead of leaving them, we should string them in so that we know that these kids are under our care, such that we are really trying to track their progress, give them access to resource persons, resources in itself, opportunities, and really the chance to have decent childhoods. All the things that we know that's happening to us in Ghana and all the struggles that happen with this underprivileged is like times 10 in Nigeria. You have no, it's crazy.
Hello, community. Thanks for showing up again. So we're about to listen to a conversation we just had with Kezia Sanie. She's the founder and president of For the Future Ghana. For the Future, now they're global. So For the Future is a nonprofit that is targeted at mitigating or like alleviating the plight of underprivileged children, and particularly through education. And I think it's a very interesting dynamic they're building because they present like a more long-term entrenched solution to the problem they're tackling. They're not like the typical hit and run nonprofit. And I think it's an exciting venture she's building, full of impact, a very impactful story. She shared a couple of like first-hand testimonials, and I think they're really onto something great. Personally, I think I came across Kezia's work because for some reason she was under a lot of bashing on X, on the socials, and we had hopefully this conversation brings a lot of clarity to a lot of people, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. So our mantra remains, just build something. Yeah, so thanks for coming. And
thank you for having me.
What you have with For the Future is very interesting, and I think the first time I heard of it was it around COVID?
Oh, really?
During lockdown. Okay. Yeah, that was happening on the TL a lot on Twitter. Okay, that's an interesting project. Yeah, and there was a story of this small girl. I forgot her name. Yeah, like you took from her grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting story.
Everybody loves Elizabeth.
And then, so from what I gather, the goal is to, it's a non-profit.
Yeah, it is.
The goal is to mitigate the plight of underprivileged children.
Yes,
that's what you usually say.
That's what we say. Alleviate.
Okay.
Mitigate.
Yes. Yeah, and so I want to better understand what that really means.
Okay.
Who are the underprivileged children and what fueled this mission, right? So what in the over up the top of your head, can you give us an overview of what FTF is about For the Future projects?
Interesting question, because if you ask me this question, I can go on and on and on. But I actually like to start right from the beginning. So For the Future has a very interesting backstory because it began in Wesley Girls High School. And while I was in Wesley Girls High School, well, we girls love to grow our hair. I see you're watching my hair. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's all my hair, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I decided to do a new style with the curls. So we love to grow our hair. And it was about to be vacation. And so we wanted our hairs to grow so that when we come home, we will braid and then go out and all of those things. And then we brought our hair creams together because we did take hair creams to school, and we wanted to create like some powerful combination that will make the hair grow really fast. So we used to have Jeba, chapter 2000, all those things. Just mixing them. And then, interestingly, honestly, up till now, I don't really remember how the whole phrase for the future started, but it seemed as though in the excitement, it came as if the hair we are trying to grow is for the future. So just like some exciting thing that people are saying here and there, like, oh, for the future, we are growing our hair for the future. And
Clenham has used Jeba for like 10 years and his beard is still not coming. It's not coming.
Yeah, Jeba. It's good though. But I'm not really big on those things because I think that sometimes it's really genetic. I think my hair is just genetic because sometimes you don't really use it, but it still grows anyway. So for the future now started as some thing. Like people were just saying for the future, for the future. It wasn't anything structured, nothing. It was just some exciting phrase that people were using, especially in my class. And so now a little bit rewind. I grew up in Dakoman, and while I grew up, whenever my parents took me to school, I would see the Kaye women sleeping in front of them.
But you went to school at Tessa, no?
I did. I went to God's Grace. So from that Dakoman Circle Station down the road, there's this sunflower school, down. You get to it. We also used to go to North Canadian Assemblies of God. So my whole childhood was around that neighborhood. You turn left. There's this place. I've even forgotten the name. They used to sell kebab. Is it I'm not remembering the name. Anyway, there's a lot going on there now. Yeah. So you take left and go down again. Now you're going towards the CMB to God's Grace. And so these women, all the time, there was not a single day that I didn't see them. And interestingly, there were times when the kids would knock our gates and like playfully, or they're just trying to do a prank or something. But sometimes they were actually hungry. And so for me, it always stuck with me. But just that I was really small. I was like 8, 9, so just observing. Yeah, just observing. And then I think that there were times when I used to even make songs about that. I used to make songs about orphans and...
Hey, Grace Ashy.
I used to make songs... No, interestingly, because I am the first of 5 children.
Oh, okay.
I have 3 sisters and a brother. And so I used to gather the two of my sisters because the last ones were really small. They are twins. I'm 8 years older than them. So I'll say, guys, let's come together. I have a song and I'll teach them by force. Whenever somebody visits us in the house, let us perform. Let us go and perform. We have a new visitor.
When are we getting the album?
I don't even know if I remember the songs.
But if you actually sang and like it was that good and like had that
I don't think the song, I don't think like it was good music. It was just out of the abundance of the hearts. Yes, like out of the abundance of what I was seeing, I just thought to make a song. And for me, all these things are coming back to me because people are kind of recounting my childhood to me. You actually used to say this or used to do this. We understand why you're taking this part because it has been with you since day one. Then it begins to make sense to me. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't even really remember. But apparently, because my sisters will tell you, this girl's always making us sing, So it's like, and then one of my classmates from God's Grace also told me that when we were in class 4 or 5, I used to admire this Mofa Foundation by A.C. Sutherland. I think it's Ifa Sutherland's daughter. It used to happen every weekend, and it was like resource training, something for children. I'm not sure it was for underprivileged children per se, because I know one of my classmates used to attend. I find it very cool, and I used to tell them I wanted to do something like that. Okay. Apparently, she told me during the 5th anniversary of FTF. So it seems as though it was inherent, but I just needed that opportunity to really start something. So fast forward, now we are back to the day we're mixing the creams. And so with the way people were excited about for the future, I just said, oh, let me tell them that I've always wanted to start a charity. But this for the future is resonating with the whole thing. I like the name. I just like it. I like it. For the future also means for the children, also means hope. Yeah. Future. It's like, it aligns. So I was like, okay, guys, I've always wanted to start this charity and help children. Yeah. What do you think about it? I think for the future, rather than being so excited about it, which will just fade away, we can redirect this to be something more beneficial. And then, to my surprise, pleasant surprise, they actually jumped on it. And so I always attribute how far FTF has come to that first day, because I really do believe that if my friends shut it down, I would have probably shied away from it. I think I would have been, that kind of thing. It's like peer pressure. What do you think you're doing?
Especially
Like, what I'm,
senior high school.
yes, what do you think you're doing? Oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, forget about it. I think it would have really dampened my spirit. So
And I think
up
you
till
also
today,
mentioned that even after the buy-in from your friends, you had this teacher, I think Mrs. Samankwa.
yes, no, Afuakwa at the time.
Afuakwa.
Yes,
Okay.
but then now she is Mrs. something. I don't remember.
Yeah, who
I've not
brought
really
in
been in
and,
touch with her.
Like, gave you...
Yes. So my English teacher, she was also running a charity at the time. It was called I Was Here. So the whole excitement, made us kind of want to tell all our teachers what's going on with us now, because we are literally packing all our Chobox food, that's vacation, and we are going to donate them. And so we told her, oh, Mr. Falca, this one.
Happened in a girls' school. Boys' school. There's nothing left in the chop box.
Oh, really?
I'm telling
No, we
you.
always had excess
Oh wow!
by God's grace.
There's this dynamic about boy-child training in this country that is becoming concerning.
Mm-hmm.
When we were in senior high school, I went to St. Augustine's College. I had a friend called Melvin. Melvin and Melba. Melvin is a twin. They're twins.
Okay.
Their parents will come to Cape Coast. Come and visit Melba. And they will call Melvin. That Melvin, we are in Cape Coast. They will never visit Melvin. We are a boy, you'll be fine. And sometimes they will send some of the things to Melvin to like the courier service and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a very funny dynamic.
Yes, I understand what you say, and I also have the same feeling that you do, because I've seen Kobiche is also really big now on Boys Lives Matter, and these conversations come up, especially even with running an NGO, because sometimes people think it's an all girls thing, but I'm like, okay, if we help the girls, then what happens to the boys? So I'm really big on the balance, because that is why we say equality. We cannot be equal if somebody else is dropping, but really we need to find the balance for everybody to just be able to reach their full potential. If you give too much attention to one, the other one drops, but at least the attention should balance.
Yeah, so you pack your stuff, you pack your excesses.
Yes, the excess of the food. And then we told Mr. Faka. So because she's been running I Was Here, was like, oh, you know what? Come join us for our outreach this August. That was in 2016, this August. And let us, just learn from how we are going to do it, so that it can help you. That is more like a practical way to learn, rather than maybe she telling us, okay, go here, talk to this, do this, do that. I think it was very helpful, even at the time. All these things, honestly, if you ask me, I think it was just really divine, because what are the odds? What are the odds? And so I Was Here used to do the busing thing, where they all gather at their Crown Mall, join a bus, and then they move to wherever they are going. And so to date, we actually do that. It's just been it's like when you're a lawyer, you learn from your senior, you just do what your senior does. Yes. So that's really what started everything. And right from that time in Ashaiman, where we donated those items with I Was Here, it was the starting point, because then that same vacation, we also did our own project by ourselves without the help of Mr. Faka. We actually went into Jamestown to do a donation. We also wanted to do like a mini farm fair, because we wanted the kids to have fun. So we got all these popcorn, fun games and stuff for the kids. They were actually at Janie. I think I heard in the news recently that Janie no longer exists. Janie Orphanage just in Jamestown, but I don't think it is there anymore. So at the time, it was Janie we went to. And fast forward, almost every vacation, we had an event, because there were also people from other schools who now joined. So mind you, everybody has a friend who has a friend. So it's like, my friend is in Boche, he wants to join. My friend is in Adisco, he wants to join. My friend is in...
When you are teenagers in SHS, everybody wants to, there's a lot of energy, a lot of
yes, and everybody wants to be part of some, what's the peer pressure.
Yeah,
everybody
wants to look cool.
Yeah, wants to look cool. That's so true.
Yeah,
that's so true. That's so true, because people even used to say, like, it used to upset me anyway, but students from other schools like, oh, she's just doing it for the hype. Anyway, That's what they said. But if I was doing it for the hype, I'm not really sure if I'll be here 9 years after, because there were so many low moments that I could say, the hype, is it really worth it? After all, I think the hype, I've gotten some. Let me just drop it. But no, it wasn't. That's what I'm saying. It was inherent. It was never really about even just that moment. But it was a stepping stone to make it happen. But it was always there. I think it would have happened one way or the other. But I am glad about how at the right time. And also because of the energy that it came with, it helped to propel it further. Yeah, so I mean, every single vacation we had events. We did so many of them, Christmas ones. We even had this one at Mamobi where we kind of did a baby renovation because they had broken tables and chairs, faulty gates. No, it was a school. It was a school that was just in a very bad state and then had not been painted in like years. So we kind of garnered support and then did that for them as well. And then we motivated their BEC students because then we had finished BEC like 2 years before. So at least we had some experience in telling them a few things. And thankfully, every time we came home and even we told our parents about it, they were happy to support. So we were heavily reliant.
I mean, you mentioned one of your stories about how your dad like financed your first project.
No, not entirely financing it, but when it came to like say the busing, I'll say, oh, we need a bus. Then he and my uncle is still supporting us till date because Elizabeth actually goes to my uncle's school for almost free.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So my uncle and my dad will get us the bus and help us to kind of like get things together. And then we will say, post on our status, tell our friends, tell our family members, please, we are going to do donation. I remember those times, everyone would bring 1 euro from their house. Everyone would bring 1 euro from their house because, to help. Because we're quite a number. I tell you, see, at the time where we came home, like a second vacation, we're like 80 people because it was tell a friend to tell a friend. Everyone wanted to be part. So many people were parts.
The fact that you mentioned that your uncle still helps till now. And then your dad has been very supportive from the start. And now, like, even the people who were partnering and volunteering for the cause had like some sort of goodwill from their parents.
Yes, they did.
Your parents must be really proud of you.
I think they are. I'm sure they are. They tell me all the time. And I think does
that fuel you too?
I'm sure. I mean, for me, I believe that our parents invest so much into us. Yeah. The little you can do is to make them proud. I think they deserve it. Yeah. I think they deserve it because put yourself in their shoes. Like, imagine giving birth to a human being, bring them to the earth. Everything about them is on you. Yeah. Like when you are sick, your parents cannot even sleep. Like, imagine when you're in trouble, they even cover up for you, and then you go all the way and you don't even bring anything back home. Like that's actually very heartbreaking. But for me also, I think that because I'm the first, it's always some kind of motivation for my siblings too, and so I really try to strive hard so that they have someone to look up to also want to be like them. So my siblings are also always so proud. They always tell me how they are happy to have a big sister like Kezia.
I find that you coerce them and force them to sing when they're young.
Oh, that one is normal. Even I still coerce them to do things, but they know the benefits of those. It's always for the better.
That's good. So I know that you did like these and projects and vacations and making donations to orphanages and this time, like doing baby renovations. But now there seems to be some sort of structure. It's been 9 years. Yeah. I'm aware you guys have initiatives, particular projects you do, recurring projects that sort of feed into the mission of helping underprivileged children. Yes. I'm aware there is STEP, there is a village project,
Share Aid. There's even Project Future Ready. There's Click for Change.
Okay, so I want and then there's one
Empower Her period. That's a period poverty period.
Okay, so I want us to touch on like the various initiatives, right? And how they started and what's the plan is around all like these initiatives. You understand? Okay, so which one do we start with?
So let's start with STEP.
Was that the first one?
Let's start with STEP. Okay. I'll say we should start with STEP because,
STEP is an acronym for
Student Training and Education Project.
Okay.
So the reason why I'm saying we should start with STEP is because while we were doing the donations, they were always one time. So we'll go to Ashaiman, we'll go to Jamestown, we'll go to Mamobi, we'll go to Choco. I think we even went to I think there were times when we even went out of Accra. We didn't do much of those at the time because we were younger. Now, parents always had their own sentiments about this. Hey, my father said, let me go. So, yeah, it's like, as for me, everything was on my head because it was, even though at the time it was a friendship thing, I was the leader, I was the brain behind the charity part of it. It was a fun thing until I steered it around to become a charity, an NGO. Everything was about me. So that's how I became the founder of the Charity for the Future and then the president as well. And so when we finished SHS, is where I wanted to do something more structured because even at the time, it wasn't registered. I finished SHS in 2018. And so as at 2019, we now got it registered. And so Aaron, who was then in Buche, became the vice president. We did some...
in 2018?
Yes.
God, I feel so old.
Yeah, but I'm not turning 25. Everybody knows my age. It's on Google. Like, I don't really... mind those things. I'm actually proud to know that I'm young and be able to do stuff for myself. Yes, so yes, I'm pretty young. And Aaron, who was then in Buche, actually finished Buche too, because mind you, everybody at the time was like around my age, because we're all 16, we're all 17, we're all like we're going together.
A marine engineer?
Yes, Aaron is a marine. Oh, you've done quite a lot of research though. You done well. Yes, Aaron is a marine engineer and he's doing so well.
Now,
He's on land. He's on land.
So
he's on land. I was with Aaron last week when we visited the kids in boarding school.
Okay.
Yes. So Aaron became vice president and Abana, who was in my class at the time, A4 and West Eagles, was secretary. And interestingly, I tried to really look at the strengths of everybody around me at the time to place them in certain roles. So Abena was very good with writing, speaking. I thought she would do well in the secretarial role. And then now, fast forward, I'm like, Abena, that role is actually for you. Like, you're doing it so well. I was not wrong, And then Christine was in my class in God's Grace. No, she was in the B class. So we had A and B. I was in A, she was in B, but we were friends. So she also became the organizer and she's been friends with me since like KG. Yes.
She went to Gate
No, she went to Labone, but she was my friend in God's Grace, so she joined. And then there are many other people as well, but these are like the core people on the team now. And so we got it registered as a company limited by guarantee, and then later got a social welfare certificate for it as well. And then I thought that beyond giving children relief items, food, clothes, even writing materials, how can we empower them so that their circumstances don't really define where they are supposed to be in life? And I say this because you give the child the food, the food will finish. A child will eat it, and that's it. You clothe the child, and that's really just for a few months or even years. But then we talk about the child's person, the child's intellect, the child's potential. Because I really have come to realize that these children that you see on the streets in the slums, like, they are so talented, they are so gifted, and in fact, each and every one of us is talented, but it takes a moment of realization or even engaging in certain activities to determine what you're good at or what you love to do. But if you don't even have the chance at all, there's not like opportunity for you. There's no way you'll be able to identify what you're good at in the first place. In the first place. So what is different about those children and for the rest of us that I would say are middle income is lack of opportunity. Really. It's like nobody wants to give them the chance. That is it. And so I thought that rather than giving them, which we still do anyway, it's all embedded, but instead of leaving them, we should string them in so that we know that these kids are under our care, such that we are really trying to track their progress, give them access to resource persons, resources in itself, opportunities, and really the chance to have decent childhoods. And we are not trying to make them rich, this, that, no. It's really that decent childhood, what we all had, that I can go to the playground and have a good time. I can read a book. I can, go to school without being sacked for school fees. I can wear a good uniform that doesn't look tattered, that doesn't look old. I can wear a nice shoe that doesn't look ripped apart. So all those things is what we're trying to look at. look at the time. And so I used to talk about it with a few friends, and then my friend called Nanama told me about this little girl called Elizabeth. Elizabeth, she's in my neighborhood actually, in Wager, not too far from me. And apparently at the time, Elizabeth's mom was a teenage mom who had Elizabeth and kind of left her with a grandma to go to Kumasi. And so till days, she never came back. She never came back. But then it happened, it happened as if they were all squatters in a neighborhood. Okay. And this teenage girl got into a thing with a certain man, like literally across the road. But they are all squatters. And she got pregnant. But the church was frowning against their cohabiting. So the church was trying to prevent them from cohabiting. And the man is like, well, if you're not cohabiting, when the child comes, then forget about it. That kind of thing. So now the child came, the girl was struggling and everything. I don't know. I think somebody else expressed some interest or gave her something in Kumasi, which she said, okay, let me leave my daughter and go and explore that. And then she never came back again. So Elizabeth was with her grandma. And her dad wasn't fending for her, but was always, like I told you, his own was that if you are not staying, yes, then. So basically, never been to school. At the time I met her, this girl always all over the neighborhood. She will roam till somebody brings her from somewhere that Mami mi so dangerous, and bring her home. So the father now said, okay, you know what, I'm going to come in, but I'm taking her to the village because even me myself here, I'm struggling. So I can't take her to school. So at the verge of being returned to the village, I was like, okay, you know what, my uncle has a school in the same neighborhood. Okay. Yes. So let me speak to him and then let's see what we can do. And so Elizabeth became our first ever project. And for me, it turned out even much better than I thought because at the time I started to tell the stories, she was the first ever story I told. And the way it blew up, I was like, okay, I didn't think it would. But I just told the story, meet Elizabeth, 2-year-old, never been to school, lives in this, if you see the place this girl lived, it's so crazy. If you check my socials, you see it. It's like, this house that's not finished, no electricity, you see some goats walking around, like the squatters thing, across squatters. So she was always at risk, like anything could have happened to her. 2-year-old, very young. So I came back with good news. My uncle was happy to take her. And then people did send in support for her, shoes, books, clothes. Elizabeth was like the most pampered because everybody was like, oh my God, this girl needs to be helped. So thankfully, we put Elizabeth in school. And that really opened the doors for other children to also benefit from STEP because after her story blew up, people got to know us even more and people were ready to entrust us with more support to help many more children. And that's because we are very transparent with the work we do. If you go to my socials, I'm always talking about visiting the children, their update, their progress. I try to do that so that you realize that it is a genuine thing and we are really trying to help humanity so that people can have confidence in being part of what we are trying to do.
See, what you just described is like the two sides of humanity, right? It's like, okay, in one breath, how can someone have a child and leave them to be on their own at the mercy of whatever they be out there just because their personal needs are not met.
Yes.
And then now you have a whole community of strangers who don't know this person and have marshaled all their forces to help this person out. Right? And I'm sure you've like several stories like this you encounter all the time.
All the time. There's literally I actually have like a waiting list because it's always children.
A swing between what the best of what we could be and the worst of what we could be. The best of what we could be.
Yes.
How do you manage all that?
I don't know. It's just a lot of emotions sometimes. It's a lot. Like the kids, sometimes I don't really have the words because I just wish that everybody will have the time to come through to really see where we pick these kids from because it's so crazy. There was this boy called David. I always tell the story because that whole thing broke my heart so much. It broke my heart. I was so hurt.
Is David on the step?
David was under step, no longer as under step.
Okay.
So what
But what's the
happened
goal of
was,
STEP? That's what
so
it
the
is.
goal of STEP really is to help the children to discover themselves, and we do this through various activities. We put them in like summer school, even
long-term education,
long-term
so
education, and also
self-discovery.
self-discovery. And we do it I say child by child case is my own term, because we try not to push them all into one thing, but based on what they are good at, we help them to really nurture that thing.
Okay.
So I give you an example of Prince Kojo,
The
who
engineer guy.
yes, who wants to be an automobile engineer, and he didn't
Is he
even know
in
what.
Ashesi now? You mentioned he's in Ashesi?
No, he had a program with this member of staff of Ashesi that had the assistant robotics. So Ashesi accommodated us and then told us about this program that we can enroll Prince in. So he was in the school for about 2 years. He used to do that every weekend, but he's now in boarding school. So he is in the robotics club in his school, but he's not able to do that because of the commuting and all that. But when he comes on vacation, we still try to engage
So when
him.
you take these children and you take them through these streams of training of self-discovery, you cater for the cost of everything.
Yes, we cater for everything. We cater for their school fees, their clothing, that's their uniforms, socks, undergarments, everything. Their sanitary items for the girls, the boys, both of them.
How many children
For
are
their
in this program now?
currently there are 12 of them.
Okay.
There are 12 of them, and we
12
try to
disciples.
yes, 12 disciples. We try to only add us at when we have a sponsor. So under step we have sponsor a child to step, and that's because we try to get individuals that want to literally kind of partner, or I would say not formally adopt, but adopt a child, meaning that I want to help this child financially. I don't really have the time to go into the slums every time to check on them, but once you give me the updates, I'm good. So we try to let them know what's going on with the child, even with Prince Kojo like this.
Vicarious adoption.
Yes, even with Prince Kojo like this, his benefactor is in the US. So whenever his results come, we'll share it with him. Whenever there's anything, because the kids, their foundation, even with the academics, is so poor. We struggle with getting them up there. So when it comes to certain things we think can do better, we discuss it with the benefactor. Okay, listen, this is what Prince is going through at this point in time. We want to enroll him in this. What do you think about it? Oh, I think it's cool. How much is it? Let us know. And then we let them know. Prince is able to talk to him on video, sometimes even write letters. And then when the benefactor is in Ghana, he comes to look for Prince.
I really like this because it has a more long-term approach.
Yes, and it makes them feel very belonged.
Yeah, 'cause
there's an attachment.
There's a concern with the hit and run approaches from charity organizations, even as a continent, the African continent. The idea that we are currently always like at the mercy of foreign aid, quick stop foreign aid, and not like something more long-term.
Yes.
That can help us go fishing for
Yeah.
what we want on our own, right? And so this is really good.
Yeah.
And it's not just let me just give relief items and go my way.
No.
More long term.
And also, even with that, even though there are sponsors that come on board, I want to sponsor a child, and things like sometimes things don't really go too well for them, and then they come to say, oh, you know what, my finances are not really as good as it was initially, so I would like to take a break. And then what do you do? Like it's there are times like that, and so every now and then we still try to bring up the stories again, and then even for now, I'm starting a social enterprise. I was going to say I am actually starting a social enterprise because I want to have a structure where we can literally turn money around to support FTF. And so as part of the 9th anniversary, we're actually going to be launching our first ever impact store.
I want you to touch on that because we had a conversation with Irama of Reformation Community, also doing a non-profit project. And she was saying she's trying to build a social enterprise that can make their efforts self-sustaining capital-wise.
Yes, that's it.
Okay,
that's
so
it.
talk about this enterprise thing. We're yet to launch it, but
we're yet to launch it. I'll not give all the details, but basically, we are trying to have an impact store, and we say an impact store because we want people who are purchasing or patronizing the impact store to know that all the the proceeds, or all the proceeds are going into supporting a child, and then they can also be part of what we are doing, because it's more like a move. We are trying to make it a movement now, so everybody can actually be part of For the Future. So I am For the Future. Our new handles are actually We Are For the Future, because we want everybody we want everybody to be part of the movement. It must not be something so big like you feel like, oh my god, I gave like 10,000 CDs. No, but as long as you are contributing and many other people are involved, the numbers means that more support. And so it's gonna be the sale of items, actually more of kids items and then family items. There was this concept that I saw in Switzerland. It's like a family store, so kind of replicating that, so that instead of buying from like a regular store, buying like a book or a lunchbox or stationaries or whatever from a regular store, you rather want to buy it from the Impact Store, because then when you buy it from the Impact Store, you're supporting another child to go to school.
Interesting concept.
Yeah.
So you can actually, the Impact Store chain of outlets can be like an actual business.
Yeah, it is.
And
It is, because it's not
business,
even, now we are not thinking of having a brick and mortar just yet, but we have a certain model way that we are going to be using. And so
I'm
watch
excited.
this space.
Yeah, watch out.
So
That's
watch
interesting.
so watch this space.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm doing this one cries just on the side, because it's also part of the things.
I'm actually really interested. Like, I'm really interested in.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we can talk about that more after the recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
I don't want to give, because it's the whole anticipate. I don't want to let's all
anticipate.
anticipate. I don't want to let it all
because
out.
we have a really great community of really supportive people.
Yeah, of course.
To share, Irama came here and we had a conversation. But there are a couple of people have reached out to her because of the conversation.
Oh,
we
that's
had
nice.
in our community who are partnering her too.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's
fine.
great. We're always
We-
looking out for partners and
Yeah.
sponsors.
So the second strand is this, which the second issue, the Project Village.
The FTF Village. But we didn't even finish talking about my heartbreak story.
Which heartbreak story? who broke your heart?
No, I was going to say Prince Kojo, not Prince Kojo, David.
David. Okay.
Yes. So I found David in the La community. Actually, he was one of those children that we found in the La Wireless school. And so after Elizabeth's story blew up, we still wanted a way that we can bring children onto step without having it being like very expensive to take care of them. So we wanted to rather go to public schools, like, and then find children that are really struggling, because even public schools, it's free, but it's not really free, because there's still things that you have to pay, lunch fees, whatever, fees, books, even the books and all that. Most of the children in the government school don't even buy the list of textbooks, because they just cannot afford it. Most of them are in servitude, squatters' children, women on the streets, children, people with disabilities and all that. So I went to the La Wireless school, and I was telling the headmistress about our initiative and how we want to help, like supplementing what they're doing. And so she told me about many of the children they're going through a lot. That's why I found Jesus Lina, and that's where I found Delight and Prince and Princess.
In the STEP program.
Yeah, still in the STEP program. Prince and Princess. And then I found David. Okay. So David lived with his mom. His mom was very sick. I think she had a liver issue. She was very sick. They lived in La, but more like Chado. But it was like, they have this, if you've ever been inside Chado and La, they have some communities in there that like really struggling people though. One of Prince and Princess, they live in a room. It's like, the room is like half of this place. And, by God's grace, the woman that's Prince and Princess' mom, she has like 4 sets of twins. And they're all in one single room. The girls sleep on the bed, and then the boys sleep on the floor. And her husband just went away. Stories like this. The husband, because I think he was also overburdened by everything going on. He was a security man, and then the woman is a cleaner at 37. She's still a cleaner, but that's all she does to support all 8 children. But 2 died actually. At a point, 2 died. So now 6 are left, and it's always a struggle. Anyway, so David, I found him in that place, also in a very tiny room, and I still have those videos. Everything is in the room, like this water thing. I don't really know. Like, it was just crazy. And so what happened was, because of how sick his mom was, it was one refuse. They call them Bolaman. So Bolaman, the mommy 1 CD they be an school. So Bolaman will give him 1 CD to go to school with. But then his mom's sickness was getting so bad. There was a point when I went to visit that apparently she had been rushed to the hospital. So I even went to the hospital myself. I spoke to her, everything. But then
she's still a cleaner.
That is Prince and Princess mom. She's the cleaner.
Okay.
But we are talking about David's mom. She wasn't working. The woman was very sick. She wasn't working. So it was a Bolaman that was helping the boy. But the way their house is too, it was not even a house, like a structure, some wooden structure. When he goes out, he's in some pub. So the boy was, everything was just basa. Basa. So what happened was, even though we were supporting the boy, at a point the mom was like, now she needs to go to the north. They are northerners. She needs to go to the north for treatment because the sickness is not getting any better. And the headmistress, God bless her, that woman was so good. She was ready to take David in, so that
school.
She was ready to take David in so that the mom can go and get healed and come back. And I even had someone on my team. So mind you, now because of how FTF was blowing up, there were other people that were joining, like older folks. So there was one person that was married. He is married with children. That was also happy to take Prince in. How do I keep saying Prince? David in. David in. And so what happened was the woman wasn't agreeing to that. So she left with David. And then she went to the north. And so I was always in touch with him. I'll call. I'll be like, what's going on? He'd be like, oh, I'm good today. I went to school. He was in another government school there. And then we closed school. I'm like, oh, you're sure? He'd be like, yes, I'm sure. And then later, what happened? So I just went to help you say auntie or something in the bush. She would say something. I always called. But then at a point, I'll call and then no one is picking. I'll call and no one is picking. So I was like, hey, what's going on? Then one day I received a call from the same number. Someone that called me. And her voice sounded just like David's mom's voice. She was like, David's mom is dead. And then I was like, honestly, I just froze. Because I'm like, that's so crazy. What happened? She said the sickness like got worse and then the woman died. Now to me, my mind just came back to David. Because David's dad even died years ago. So the boy is automatically an orphan. And stuck in the north. So everything that we were doing for him here, like literally, away, because he's now no longer here. And even though we wanted to make the move to even go find him, at the time I was also in law school, I just trying to balance everything, so I can't really make the trip and come back. I was just trying so hard to balance everything together. And so thankfully I had someone in the north that did go on my behalf to look for David. And she was telling me the situation was so bad, even though the auntie told me that, oh, it's okay, that their family will help, blah, blah, blah. It was so bad. He wasn't really going to school and he was following cattle.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I was so hurt because this boy was on a path to all the beautiful things. Literally, my friend Precious owns the Wit School in East Legon. She gave the children the chance to come to their school for summer camp. And these kids go mingling with all the rich kids. And like, they're so happy to come to East Legon just to go to school, have all the experience. And David would always be like, Auntie Kezia, when are we going to the school again? But now the boy is just gone, So and how to...
Got in touch. You've still been able to get in touch.
So finally, the family said there's someone in Accra in Kaswa that he can come to, but that took like almost 2 years for this boy to come. And then one day I got a call that he's in Accra. Mind you, this auntie that's even in the north, every time she calls, she's complaining that they don't have money, they've not eaten today and those things. And I used to give my personal money to them because he was not really on the program anymore. And we tried to keep things structured a bit. So whenever she's out, like, okay, that's fine. I just send like 200, 300, just so that they can have something to eat. So that day she called me, she was like, they've not eaten anything. But then I just wanted to tell me that David is in Accra. And I was like, oh, really? She should give me the contact. And so I went all the way. You see, I say Casa, I say Kanchi. Like when we went to
Cassie.
We entered, fell in some potholes, oh my God, it was so far. And we finally got there. Now it's like the family, that thing where it's like, who are you people? You want to come and take our boy away? Everything is just bizarre. So even though we finally met the boy, it's even as if he couldn't really talk because they were all there. They won't allow you to move a little bit away with the boys. I don't want to hear everything you're saying. What these? So basically, even though once in a while I call to check on him or I go there, the auntie was even saying that, oh, and you didn't go school. Yeah, it's basically I think that you're here or more like we don't need you.
Okay.
And what can you can't force, you
But,
can't force.
Is that the case? Do they take him to school?
That's something that the boy is like, he wanted to say something, but he can't really say it.
Wow.
Yes. So it was even recently that someone was like, oh, Kezia, I think that this time when you go, just ask, can I have a moment with the boy? Because I see they will never give it to you. So just ask, can I have a moment with the boy? And then ask him
How old
truly.
is he now?
At the time, David was like 7. So let's say now he'll be like 11. 11, yeah. Because it's been 11 or 10, yeah.
David.
And he's so promising. He was one of the liveliest. Everybody loved him, actually. So those are some of the heartbreaking stories that sometimes I go through. It was so personal to me. I'm like, God, I'm getting so attached. Not like why am I getting so attached, but it's getting to me. Like, can you heal my heart right now? Because it's so tough. Yeah.
I'm sure it's make provision for it.
Yeah. But it's stories like David that lead us to the FTF Village conversation anyway.
Okay.
Because at the time, his mom used to say things like...
FTF Village.
Yes, FTF Village. His mom used to say...
Step
FTF Village. His mom used to say things like, oh, Ankamu baby, Ankamu Timidinako. And at that time, he was with his mom. And so at least, if she gives you... Because really... The parents give the consent for the children to come on board all the projects. And so even before we sign them, we make the parents sign something. They can't really sign, but they do the thumbprint. We read it to them in tree, they understand. Okay, in see, idea where I be no, you be go school, you be turn books a man, you be turn uniforms a man any idea. You per se was so boy and so oba fear or so boano, ebia homework, ebia I want to mean in your homework, but at least she say why yeah. She saw better than a few on corner cheese sans and our buffet, that kind of thing. We try to let them meet us halfway because at the time, mind you, we're all in uni. We're all around the same age. So when I say I'm in uni, all my members are also in uni.
Wow.
You see, yeah, because we're the same age. And even at that age, how many people can you control above your age? Like
They call you.
nobody will mind you, really. So it's that age and below. Yeah. So that's when we really thought, how about we had a space, right, that can accommodate these children.
Yeah.
And give them access to all these resource persons. Mind you, the times I used to tell the stories, people say, oh, Kezia, me, I am able to do this. I'm able to teach this. I'm able to teach that. Let me know whenever you need my help. I'm happy to help. I'm a health service person. I can give this kind of support and all that. But you see, the children are scattered. Dakuman, La, Oponglo, Wager. Where do we get the meetup?
Yeah.
Where do we, so a physical space where we can do that. But we're even thinking of it more like a boarding school because we don't want to disconnect the children from their families and communities per se, but just so that we can have a space where for 3 months, controlled, when they vacate, they can go home. And that's because the mothers, they cannot even help with homework. Don't forget that. And when you say that you're trying to help the children and you allow them to go back into the toxic environment, it's like round. It's like, it's crazy. You're trying to help, but they go back and they go and roam. Up to today, they always give me a report that Elizabeth is still roaming. Like, what can you do? The girl is, she will roam. She will roam. Who will stop her from roaming? If I am there, I can say, Elizabeth, no, you're not going. But then the grandma, okay. So Elizabeth, we didn't get to the point where the father came back because, he was going to take her to a village. But because he realized that, in Kophobia Bano, he said, okay, you know what? I've been a bad father, but it's fine. I will be taking her to school. So it was good for us because at least he was being supportive. So when it comes to school fees, books, uniform and everything, it's us. But when it comes to personal things like food and everything, he's actually able to support with he used to do scaffold something. Like he's actually just touching here and touching there. Recently he was saying that he wants a job and he doesn't have anything to do. But at least because of the efforts we give, he's also trying. And that is one of the good things I've realized about Elizabeth's story. It brought some reconciliation a bit. Even though the mother never came back, she has still not come back to this. The father is putting in some efforts.
So how is FTF Village going? How is it going? What's the plan now?
Yes. So we actually did a launch of it in 2021 because we wanted to tell the story of what we are trying to do and then Ghana support. But thankfully, what we were able to really put a lot of money together. And what happened was that we're trying to buy some land in Iduku. Okay. But then we changed our minds because a chief in Achim Jonase that I got to know at the World Bank Youth Summit. Actually, it was in the World Bank Youth Summit, and I met this Ghanaian girl who introduced me to Chief. So the chief is a lawyer, but then he is also a professor in the University of Boston.
Oh, okay.
And then also a chief of Achim Junase. So Kwabna Cheya Boache, that's his name. And so in Osaberima, he has a stool name, which I always cannot really mention, but he's Kwabna Cheya Boache. So what happened was that he actually called us and told us that he loves the project we are doing. And he is very development focused for his people. So literally bringing people from the diaspora to come and do like film school, a great school and those things in his space. So he thought that it's even a good space to have the FTF Village because we can also tap into what's going on in Achim Junase. So like God really bless that man. He's been very helpful. So he is giving us free land actually for the FTF Village. And so we have like 5 acres of free land in Achim Junase. Wow. And so awaiting development. So based on the monies we got like from 2021, we are trying to start something like this year.
That's exciting. So like,
to start something.
How was the capacity look like, the plan?
So because I mentioned that it's going to be a boarding school.
How much are you raising?
That project is huge.
How much are you raising?
It's huge. But let me tell you that that project is really huge. Yeah. But then we try to break it in phases. Okay. So the first phase, that is going to be just the resource center, which we're even calling the multi-purpose resource center. So that is without the boarding facilities, the admin block and all those things. It's going to take us about $150,000 to build.
Resource center, what's it going to do?
So the multi-purpose resource center is where we are going to have all these smart, what's it called? Like smart resources for the children to use to study, classrooms, but in a special way, because we're trying to help them to learn in a 21st century approach in a way that they can actually play and learn and have access to the resources and resource persons based on their strengths and talents. So it's not a typical classroom, but it's like a special kind of classroom where the children can really learn and then also focus on what their strengths are.
Okay, so let me get this right. The resource center is going to be a school.
It's a school, by a special school. Yeah.
With, probably tied into the Ghana education service.
It is, yes.
You're going to employ teachers.
Yes.
You're going to have to pay the teachers.
Yes.
I'm sure the
yes.
capital of that is going to come from the business you're running, right?
Actually, that's the reason why we are really trying to launch that early, because it's going to sustain.
Because now, if you do phase 1 without a boarding facility attached to it, I mean, now the children are 12.
They are 12.
Even if you have 50 children, right? Don't you think that it will defeat the purpose? Because if these children come into the village, and then the resource center, they get the training, they'll go back to these places.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe we could just do something small to add to the phase 1. I mean, it's not like a full structure, but the children are not lots.
That's what I was actually going to say. Because even though the idea is to get the resource center built in the phase 1, which is not like the robust dormitory we want to do, because they are smaller, rather than having all the classrooms full of classes, some of them can currently be dormitory. Yes. Yeah, we do. And so what we are trying to do now actually is to get more of corporate sponsorship and partnerships, which brings me to why I got FTF registered in the US.
Okay, I was actually going to ask about that.
Yes.
But
which brings me to why.
The conversation is that investors are a lot comfortable. Even on the startup, the for-profit ecosystem,
yes.
people do Delaware incorporations because they feel like
Delaware. Yeah, that's how we did it. And that's also because the corporates would like to give to organizations that are 501c3.
Yes.
So tax exempt. If you don't have that, they don't want to, because they don't want to pay the tax on what they're giving you, basically. So it's a strategic thing. It's a strategic thing. And thankfully, one of the sponsors of the children is the one that...
How do people invest? How do people get to be partners in this
FTF Village? Yeah, so I would say that please just like get in touch because there are many ways by which people love to be involved in things. Some love to be part of it in a sense that I am into cement production. I will give you cement. I am into block. I'll give you blocks. I can give you chairs and tables. Yeah, so you can reach us via our social media handles. Currently, FTF Ghana on all socials. Our new global page, which we literally launched this week, is We Are FTF Global. because I mentioned to you that we are trying to be yes.
It's a
And
page, like a website, like a social media page.
it's our social media, but our website is weareforthefuture.org.
Okay, I saw one ftfglobal.org. It was a very
Really?
FTF Global. There's a website.
I don't know about that.
Oh wow!
Are you
There's a
sure?
website.
Let me
Yeah.
see that.
Let me see if
Then
can
I don't
show
think
you.
it's us though. But you know,
And it
FTF
has
stands
all,
for
like, your-
FTF stands for different things. Are you sure it's FTF Global?
There's step there and all that too.
Are you sure it's FTF Global?
Hey, somebody is
Let me see.
FTFghana.org.
Yeah, Ghana.
That is,
That was what we've been using.
but it's changed.
Because there's Nigeria.
Yeah, I know.
There's Nigeria. There is the US. And so we are trying to house everything
Okay,
in
so
one
we'll get
website.
to the
That is why
Nigerian-
now we are not using the FTF Ghana anymore. We are using weareforthefuture.org.
Okay, sounds good. Exciting, like really exciting. So, both because this approach seems exciting to me. It's like it's really an more long-term entrenched solution.
It is.
To
It is.
you know.
It
for,
is,
like,
and
enabling
it's
people.
it's literally my whole life now. Because like I mentioned to you,
Are you a lawyer
I
too?
intend. I'm a lawyer, but I
What's
told
the
you that I
lawyers-
intend.
lady lawyers in NGOs because
Really?
Ramatu was a lawyer.
But is how many more?
Okay.
So-
are you still practicing?
Yes, I'm practicing now, corporate commercial, but then I try to really do the balance. Also because I'm a new lawyer, so I need to get the experience of being a lawyer and not really throw it away. And then at the firm too, there's this human rights thing where we kind of do like
No,
criminal
the
defense.
International Human Rights.
I would say international relations. That is because human rights
There's a
is
profile of you
underrated.
on this.
Singalin.
I think so. That you mentioned that you want to get into international human rights.
I want to. But it's more of the diplomacy. I say that because human rights, even though it's like my main focus, is very limiting. So at least the broader one is that way, and then I narrow it down a bit. But it's actually a diplomatic course, like international
So aside,
relations.
what's it called? Step, the FTF Village, exciting. The other strands.
Yes, Empower Her Period.
Okay.
So Empower Her Period came about because of Share Aid, actually. So let me just... So Share Aid is our initiative where we partner with organizations and corporate bodies so that we can do like our mass donations. Even though we have 12 children under our care, we still love to support anyway, which was how we started in the beginning. Don't forget, we were doing the mass donations, so we said let's take one or two, but you can't really support like thousands as of now. So at least you can still continue supporting in your own little way without necessarily bringing them into step. But we do the outreaches. And so what happened was we got into a partnership with School in a Bag in the UK.
Yeah.
So School in a Bag,
mean
they manufacture rucksacks. Yes, they manufacture rucksacks and they stock it up with learning materials, hygiene kits in the UK. But they have a partnership with Trashy Bags Africa in Ghana. And so they give them the funds, and then Trashy Bags makes the bags out of recycled plastic waste. And then they assemble the bags here and then stock it up here. And then we pick them up and distribute them because we
Your
have...
partnership still ongoing.
It's still ongoing.
Okay.
It's still ongoing. Yeah, it's still ongoing. We are still in touch with them. So because of how they actually work worldwide, and so they have their own way, their own internal way of distributing the I'll say the resources. And so as when they are ready to do another one, you just hear from Luke. They'll be like, "Oh, Kezia, we have this number of bags. We want to do this," and then that's it. Yes, but we are in touch with them every now and then. We check in. Just you know how these things are.
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on and all that. But it's as and when. So far we've had like 5 projects with them, where we've done different regions in Ghana. We've actually done Greater Accra, of course, Eastern, we've done Central, we've done Bono East, we've also done Northern. We actually went to the North. Yes, we went to the North once last year. And so that has been very good. Thankfully, we also have got support from some corporate bodies in kind in the past. So Indomie, Bell Aqua, Bell Beverages, Cowbell, what's this thing again? Promacedo. They've also been very helpful.
That's their actual name.
Yes, Promacedo Ghana, they make cowbell. Yeah, and many others that have been, but they give us in kind. So we add it to the bags and then we go and do like mass donations. And so through that, Luke told me about this guy who called Martin, who wanted to come to Ghana to do like a research thing for his school. He was in the University of Leeds. So he wanted to come and do a research about period poverty. And because Luke knew us, he connected me to him. And then the guy came mainly to do a project on period poverty. And he came with support from the university. So he had the funds. So he came, got the sanitary pads. We had a whole structure on how we're going to engage the girls and then break some stereotypes, teach them how to be, teach them the whole thing around menstrual hygiene, and then try to help them to really understand that going through your period does not mean that you are sick, or does not mean that you can't do everything else. Like some girls go through it. For example, me, I actually have very serious cramps, but then I just try to take some painkillers or still try to do one or two things. And then, but theirs is very different because there are also stereotypes. Like there's some of the communities we went into that they will say, oh, when you're on your period, you cannot sit in the same maybe desk with a boy, or you cannot come through this, that kind of thing. And so we try to break all those, have conversations with them. And then some of the girls that told us stories of how they have to walk miles to fetch water so that they can fetch water before they come to school to get some coins so that they can buy sanitary towels. And those were so heartbreaking because imagine not able to come to school or being like going to school for half day because you have to go and fetch water for some people so you can buy. So it was a good one because we were able to stock up. We were able to do this like period bank. It's a thing now where people like stock up some parts, even though it's not entirely sustainable. It was still helpful. We are looking to have some more sustainable products that can go a long way to still help the girls. So that is the Empower Her period. We were able to do like thousands of girls because Martin came prepared with the fund. So it helped us to be able to do thousands. Actually distributing over 27,000 sanitary products to girls. It was a lot. And then there's now Click for Change. That is with Jumbo Spaces. And so, because of how the world is going now, tech savvy, and we really believe that the typical Ghanaian child is a bit timid. And that's because sometimes parents, when the child is talking, will go like, that kind of thing. It's kind of really brings down their self-confidence a little bit. So we try to bring this project that helps them with public speaking and digital literacy and help them to prepare for the future of work.
Exactly.
Yeah, in the La community. It's a partnership with Jumbo Spaces because it was Jumbo's idea to give back to the La community. And so thankfully, even for us, many of our children are in La. So they reached out to help them to get access to the children and also resource persons that can do that. So the location is Jumbo Spaces. And so far we've had 2 cohorts empowering 40 children, 20 each last year, this year. Yes, they just graduated
Like age
from
range.
It's actually between 6 and 15.
Okay.
Yeah, like 6 and 15 because we had a very little one, 6. And then we've had a number of good things coming out of that. We did have the Harvard Black Law Students Association visit us to join us for Click for Change. It was a good one. They also made a donation. It was helpful. We've also had some good sponsors with us as well. KFC has been helpful, Twillium, and then recently some people that have been supporting Click for Change as well.
I really like what you're doing.
Yeah, and then Project Future Ready is also to support orphan children.
This is another thing for the future ready.
Project Future Ready.
Project Future Ready.
Yes. It's to support orphan children. And because we don't have a space just yet, we are trying to bring the same resources that our children have. So the children in the orphanages. So it's like an adopt an orphanage kind of thing. Every year we take one orphanage and then we try to bring them all the resource persons, the engagements and whatnots that we have for other children to the orphanage. So that rather than doing the donations that people always go and do, give them food and all, we are rather trying to help them to be ready for the future.
Okay, so like basically extending the goodness of the FTF
Yeah,
Village.
yes, but into the orphanage.
Just like
Yes, so that
widening your distribution.
yes, so that they can also. So it's a wide range of things. From it literally has everything we do.
Yeah.
It has public speaking. It has digital literacy. It has personal hygiene, it has career day, it has healthcare. So it's a whole structure of things, like a schedule where every other Sunday we go to the children. Now they know us by name. We even had this art session. They're always doing something interesting, but it helps them to really see that, at least others care about us beyond giving us food and leaving us. You know, that's always my mind. I'm like, why would I go and
Long
donate
term.
to them and then leave them? I just want to see them progress. Recently, we went there. One of them told me, "Oh, Aunt Kezia, we want past questions. You know, things like that. Things like that.
Okay, so now the team.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of people you've worked with. I didn't see like what's the structure looking like
Mm-hmm.
now. Do you have full-time employed people or like all of you are more like volunteers now? How's that looking like? And then you've scaled to Nigeria. I want to touch on that. What work have you done there? Or are yet to go into the market properly? So
So for the team, like I told you, because of how it started, my friends were all around at the time. We went to uni, and then, you know, life happens for people. Like, people kind of lose interest. Some people, it has also served their interest for high school time. So like, I'm done with that. But thankfully, actually, many of those that started with me are still there. Not all, but many. And we have the executive board. So the executive board is made up of like 10, 12 people, and it's made of the president, the vice president, the general secretary, the organizing secretary, and the finance people. And then we have our committees. So currently in FTF, we do have the welfare committee, we have the procurement committee, publicity committee, we even have the organizing committee, finance committee. So the heads of we even have an education curriculum committee, and that's because of the FTF Village. All the things we do around education, they are the ones that check it out. And then the progress of the children as well. We have an M&E too, monitoring and evaluation. So the heads of all those committees are also on the executive board.
okay.
And then we have the advisory board. So these are seasoned people, I would say experts in various fields that are on our board that give us play an advisory role. So whenever we have to do something based on what we have, so we have a lawyer, we have a medical person, we have a finance person, we have a business person, we have an academic. So we also have like quarterly meetings where we read the reports, what we've done and all those. But in between, when there's something going on that is in relation to someone's field, we just say, okay, go to Lennon, because Lennon is the lawyer. Even though I'm a lawyer, he's a more senior lawyer. So then if we have any issue, Lennon will help us. So that's how the advisory board also works. Then there was a time that we had the associate members. So associate members, it's not really functioning anymore. We would like to revive it because it was quite helpful. So there were also professionals, but not playing advisory role per se. Very busy people that also want to support, but then are happy to support as and when they are free. So those people, and then you mind you, those times we were in school, so we saw them as people that are senior to us still want to help. So they were the associate members. But then we currently have the members, they are full-fledged. So right from the beginning, because of the way we used to support the work, we were paying dues, and up to now, those members still pay the dues. And then they are also in the committee. So they are the ones literally in the committees being headed by the members of the executive board. And then we have the volunteers. So now, because we are done with school and all, we have the uni people and then other people that have time that come on board to support. Sometimes it's also based on a project. So we put a project like Project Future Ready out, and somebody's available to help with just Project Future Ready. So not volunteering for the entire FTF, but then it's available to help with, say, Empower Her Period. So once Empower Her Period is done, the person is also done. Then we give them certificates for what they came to do. And so, you know, because of my storytelling and how active I am on social media, I try to do that just to let the world know what's going on. And for me, it's played a very huge role, because you can literally be sitting here in Ghana and somebody's watching you from America, from China, from Europe, and he's saying that, wow, this girl is doing so well, I would like to support her. And that is literally how we get the support from the individuals. Many of the people that have supported are actually from abroad. And so there's one girl called Foluke in Nigeria. This girl was sending me DMs, emails. She was on me. And
before you go to Foluke's story and the story of Nigeria, so do you pay, are they full-time staff?
No, so we don't pay anybody
Salary.
to, even as of now,
pay
everybody's, yes, the dues.
But are there plans for that?
Yes, of course. Because of how the FTF Village is going to run, we actually would have to have security, we have to have cooks, we have to have caretakers, we have to have teachers, all of those. So definitely long term it will, because, you know, I'm trying to build it in a way that is also literally running in a way that is kind of like self-sustaining.
Yeah. So
That is why I mentioned the
family
impact store.
stuff.
The impact store. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
But then there was a
When are you
point.
starting that?
Oh, we are launching it next week. But then we are going.
Store.
We are launching it next week. It's an e-commerce thing for now. But then we are going to have a fair on the 1st of July so that we can invite people to come around and we tell the story of how the impact store is going to play out. And then have people look through what we have so far, what we've gathered that we're going to be selling for right from the beginning. Come and look through it. And there's some really exciting stuff. I'll show you photos of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When is the fair?
1st July.
Okay. I'm gonna be there too.
Yay! Please help us to spread the word.
Okay.
1st July. It's looking like it's going to be at my friend Precious school, the Wit School. She's been very supportive of
Right,
almost every.
East
So
Legon.
ARS roundabout, East
Oh,
Legon.
okay.
She's been very supportive. In fact, she's currently on the FTF Ghana board.
Oh.
Precious Bonsu. Are you sure you don't know her?
Not sure.
Anyway, yes, that's her school.
Okay, Precious Bounce. Okay,
Shout out to Precious.
So Nigeria.
Oh, Mrs. Precious Bonsu Kodo. Please,
I'm
now
sorry,
she is
I'm sorry,
married.
I'm
So
sorry.
Mrs. K. Shout out. So Nigeria. Now, follow K. Was always sending me DMs and emails. I've seen what you're doing in Ghana. And I've always wanted to do something like that. But I think that you are a huge inspiration to me. So how about you extend FTF to Nigeria? And I'm happy to spearhead it. And so whenever you need to come to Nigeria, everything, it will be about me. And then I'll make sure that we get the team running.
Nice.
And so I was like, hey, who's this person? You know, the first thing that comes to people's head about Nigeria, like, hey, madam, are you not afraid? Like, what are you going to do in Nigeria? I'm like, what's your problem? And so the funny thing is that all the things that we know that's happening to us in Ghana and all the struggles that happen with this underprivileged is like times 10 in Nigeria.
Yeah,
You
so
have no,
steroids.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So I was like, okay, let me tell the team. Let me tell the team. So I'm like, okay, there's this girl called Foluke, this and that. I share the profiles. Like, girl, share all your socials with us. Let us know. Doing some due diligence on her. So we found out she's also a law student in Nigeria.
You see what I said?
Also a law student in Nigeria, wanting to do something impactful, sustainable. And I thought it was interesting. So we had calls with her for like 3 months straight, always talking. How is it going to play out? How is it going to run? We don't have fun, you know. Do you know that we are still really? So, I always say, people think that, oh, we are doing so well. Like, thankfully, yes, we are. But I still see how far it can go. I still think it's day one. I always wake up and like, it's still day one. Because there's so much more to do. There's so much more to achieve. There's so much more funds to raise. And so we try to explain to her. And she was like, okay, that's okay. But for her, she thinks that even if we can collectively say FTF Ghana, FTF Nigeria is doing this and that, we can apply for some grants together and get support where they can also get the funds to run. So they literally launched this year in March and it's been good so far. They had their first, even though they launched in March, they had their first project in May.
Have you been there?
Not yet. I intend to go there in January.
Okay.
After a year of some work to see how it's been. But I'm always in touch with her. Even currently when we launched the global platform, she's the one that has been doing all the creating of accounts, putting things together, and she's very good. She's also very good with storytelling. So it's good that she's on it.
Essentially, there's some autonomy there. They're going to raise their own money, but then
Yes, but we are still supervising them,
so like
and
the
we are
roadmap
also
is the
on
same
their
as you have in Ghana.
we are still on their advisory stuff. Like we check whatever they do, and they report to us. So they're also doing something similar to I'll say STEP, but they are yet to go full time into actually taking the children to school, because she shared a couple of stories of children struggling with me and a couple of some children selling on the streets and all of that, which she's yet to tell the stories of. I tried to show her exactly how I did it so she can do similar.
Something interesting about these children on the streets, right? And in Accra, many of you realize this, when they come to when you're driving and they come to you for money, and you stretch your hand and tell them you don't have money, you want money, they actually give you money.
Oh really? I don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah, they will also want to give, if you have coin, they will dig in the pocket and want to give you the money.
Oh, that's
And
so kind.
like every time.
That's so kind. For me, I always roll my glass now and I ask them, why didn't you go to school? They'll be like, me, I don't go to school. Why? Then they'll be like, oh, maybe me free. I'm not from here, something. I'm like, okay. Sometimes I just try to engage, just to know what's going on. There was this girl like that. She was very little, but it was even her aunts that we met that was selling pure water at Opongulu. And this girl literally has a mom that they don't know where the dad is, because when the mom was like 19, 20, she got missing. They believe she was kidnapped. She came back mentally unstable and then with HIV. Yeah. These are the kind of stories. There's also another one like that, Comfort. See, hers was so... In fact, hers, I was upset. I was so upset because, this girl is literally staying in the same box. It's not even a household. Box with her mother. And the mom apparently was in the central region with her grandma. And she was like, she also had her first two children as a teenager. That's how it usually starts. And she was like, oh, she's come to Accra for greener pastures. Now she came to Accra. She was staying with a man. She is still staying with a man. That now became like her husband. Because now she has 2 other children for that man. And so the man is taking care of her. And this girl is refusing to do anything because according to her, she doesn't have anything to do. And even though she started some tabletop thing, it didn't really work out. Now she's in the same box with her 2 first children that she came with with the man's 2 children. And then the man has given her an instruction that the money he gives her to take care of the children, he shouldn't use it to take care of the first 2. Now this man will come home, even when he does it to the girl a lot. That's Comfort. And the girl is sleeping. And maybe some, kids can be silly sometimes. There are lots of things that they do that, it's your own child. You really escalate it like that. But because it's someone's child, he will beat her and beat her and beat her and then take her outside to go and sleep outside. The mother is in the box. And so the day I visited, I was like, are you sure you're the real mother of this child? She was like, yeah, she's the real mother. But then when she was leaving the central and she was coming to Accra, she told the children that they should stay with the grandmother so that she will be there and then at least maybe sending money here and there. But then the girl was crying now because at a point she brought the boy and left the girl. And then Comforts was crying and crying and crying. She wants to come to Accra. Then it's like, okay, they just put her on her bus to come to Accra. So if she has come then. Wow. How can you... And you see, I don't blame them. You see, it's just what the hardship that they are going through. Sometimes it just gets into their... Like, that's what I want to say. Like... Because how can this be? Your own child, a man that you say is your husband, is beating her. Listen, I'm not saying that it's the man that did it, but the time that we ran tests on this girl, she had been sexually abused multiple times. By, we don't know who, because she used to sleep outside. I think four times out of 7 days, she's sleeping outside. It's like the outside was her room. And then the mother was crying. She is. The mother was crying. And sometimes so many really. Half of the time, because the time the reports came to us, so we involved social welfare and everything. The girl was that night. She had been beaten because she went for some church service with one woman that literally saw the girl and kind of tried to help her little by little. So this girl's brigade thing, the woman will pick her, take her and all that. And the man was upset that she came home late. Won't even ask any questions. Beat the girl up to the extent that she had bruises on her face. The first video that was sent to me, blood on her face and sleeping outside. The girl was crying. She was like, she doesn't want to stay with her mother again. She doesn't want to be there. She wants to leave. She wants to leave. And we don't have space then again. So what we did was, the social welfare helped us to locate one of her aunties, distant aunties in Dakuman. That's the girl is with now. She doesn't want to hear anything about her mother. And even up to today, when I went to get a consent, because I needed to get a consent from the mother to take her to school, the mother has never visited her in the boarding school before. She doesn't care about the girl. It's crazy. Never say, maybe let me go and see how the girl is. These are the kind of things that we are going to. I've had to do rescue mission before because of the kind of stories that I hear about the children. And so for someone like Foluke to come up to say, I want to do in Nigeria, I thought was a very good idea because we can replicate what we are doing. I believe she still has the passion. I believe she has the same passion and she has the team as well. And so, Nigerians, they have energy. They come with the energy because, assertive. These people were recording videos and things. So, the future is for the children. And now in Nigeria, we are ready to take it up. We are ready to, and their first ever video, I was like, God, even as we don't record those videos here. Yeah, like, and they don't even do any extra gadget too. They are small phones that they are holding. That's all they know. And that's what they use. And they've been able to garner support even in Nigeria to the extent that they are having empowerment programs for children in underprivileged schools. So extent that they even printed exercise books branded FTF. When I saw it, I literally shed a tear. I was like, God, look at this. It was so beautiful. The books.
Website again?
We are
FTF.
for the future.org. We are for the future. So we are involved. We are for the future. We are all parts of it. We are for the future. And the message they put at the back of the book, talking about, dear dreamer, life is unfair sometimes, but when opportunity comes, make the best out of it. You can go above your circumstances to be who you are meant to be. Like those things.
Yeah.
And Nigeria, every time I see FTF Nigeria, it's like, so I wish I'd give all of them a very big hug because their modeling is so well. And I'm so glad because it's helping for the entire organization to be very active. Everything is going on, it's very robust. And I absolutely love where we are going. So it's been so far so good. And thankfully, while I was in the US for the past 3 weeks, no, actually 2, in total 3, because I went to the US first and went back. I was able to constitute an advisory board that's separate from the current one in Ghana because I wanted people that have the experience in the US to help us to reach the right people to take advantage of the 501c3. And so currently we have about 6 people on the board that span, ranging from professional, like lawyers, admin, and people that have been in the international space, even in impact. And then one of my friends, Charles, who works in Netflix, and so far so good. We are looking to have our first ever. We had a first call just to chat about what we're expecting, what we're looking forward to as a board. And so we're going to have our first board meeting in July. And so we are hoping that will also help us to gain some ground and traction in the US to get some funding, especially for the FTF Village, because that is more capital intensive. We are hoping that some organization that is like very resourced will even want to partner to make it happen, and then we work together to just give the children what they deserve. Because for me, I believe that once we have a space like that, it also gives the children a sense of belonging, a sense of community where we can all be
really
involved.
It really is what they should be about. It really sort of solves, takes cater for a lot of other problems.
Yes, many problems. Problems of bringing them together, problems of environment problems. Some of these children too, sometimes what they see. You see, I have reports sometimes from the school that, one of your children is doing this or that. I'm like, Madam, when baby Akola will free her. She has picked something from somewhere. She doesn't even know. So sometimes these are the challenges that we have. But thankfully, even now at 9 years, we've been able to impact their lives, even if maybe not in the way we've done for the 12 children, let's say over 7,000, because in going into all these communities and even what Nigeria is doing now, like thousands of children are feeling for the future impact, even though it's not exactly how.
It becomes like a whole city.
Yes, it's actually gonna be a community. That's why we call it the gated community. But like brick by brick, we're trying to have like different units that can make it the city.
So, over the conversation, you've mentioned the fact that social media has been like a great tool for the impact you do. I mean, for me, I got to know about what you're doing through the same channel.
Yay. It shows that it's going far.
For some reason, over the period, you've come under a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Unfair heat. People saying all sorts of things about the project you're running. And I have my own reasons, suspicions of why it might be so, probably because of your dad's political exposure somehow. And they're just unfair bashing.
Yes.
Right? Especially on Twitter.
Yes.
That you've had to endure because of what you're doing. And I really want to understand how you navigate all that.
Yeah, how I navigate it. It's an interesting one. Actually, a tough one. More than interesting. Sometimes I find it interesting. Sometimes I find it tough. It depends. But right from the beginning, I think this thing first started in like 2022, if I'm not mistaken, because I was still in University of Ghana School of Law. And so it seemed as though people were always wondering how I was running the organization, because I would tell stories of the kids. So currently, when you go to my X, the first tweet you see, which is my pinned tweet, is about how FTF started in 2016. And so there's been some consistency, actually. And it takes a lot to run an organization to 9 years. You have no idea. And even from age 16, like, it could have easily collapsed at some point. People lose interest in things. Life happens. You can imagine the ups and downs of life. Even law school in itself is enough reason to stop it. And so there were many times when I could have given up. It was around that time that I was seeing Elizabeth. Every time I went, take her progress and come and update the TL or even update my LinkedIn, Instagram. I met Kojo at the time, took Kojo to Ashese. All those things were happening when I was in University of Ghana School of Law. And even before I got to Ghana School of Law. And so for me, when that whole thing started in 2022, I think it was because people were trying to figure out how I was doing it. But then when they now realize that, oh, so that's her father, it now makes sense how she's been doing all that. Forgetting the beginning of it, forgetting how it's been run all those years, even before that thing surfaced. And so for me, I'll say it's painful.
Bite at things they don't understand.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And you see, that is what even makes me feel very grateful to God, because I'm like, wow, this is the grace. Like, God, this is how far you've brought me. Because if people can't comprehend it, that's loophole is what shows that God is in it. Because I told you, even how it started, my friends could have said, girl, what are you doing? You're crazy. Just my friends embraced it. My English teacher embraced it. People were supporting. We were bringing Tiro from our home. And up to today, FCF has not got some big money because listen, if I got big money, you guys have no idea the kind of things I'll do with FCF.
There'll be signs.
But there'll be signs, because even the FCF Village, I would have built the FTF Village by now, because we're talking about millions of cities that if really I was involved in some kind of whatever that people have projected me for, I would have done those things. Yeah. Because if FTF is running on that kind of money, many more children will be in school. Many more children will be benefiting from the project. But it's so authentic. And if you come into seeing how we literally raise these funds, and if you come into seeing how we are sustaining this thing, you will just know that it's by God's grace. Because how the children gets the sponsors and all that is by God's grace. So for me, yes, it is painful. The first time it happened, it was painful. It's gotten better over the years, because it's the same thing that keeps coming around, recycling. So for me, I would say that what I really believe in is staying true to yourself and staying grounded and not letting what people say move you. Just because it is going on doesn't mean that everything is so rosy, because even the funding part of it is just by God's grace. If I tell you where we find the people that come to say, oh, I want to take this child, I can't describe it. I don't know where we found the person in the US. I don't know where we found the person in Europe, because the person just found me. And I always say, what are the odds that someone will see you on the TL and say, I want to take one child to support? What are the odds that somebody will see you and say, oh, I believe in what you're doing so much? Because I always say that you're not entitled to anybody's money. Yeah. You're not entitled to anybody's support. And so what draws people to want to help you is really God. Because you can't force anybody to help you. People actually support what they like, and people help who they like. If they don't like you, they won't help you. And so I know that people are usually concerned. A few do reach out, and so I'm very grateful for those people. Like, thank you all so much. Everybody who sees those things about me and then comes to say, oh, are you okay? Don't worry to blow over. It actually does blow over, but it's always like a cycle. I told you, sometimes it's okay, then one time it comes up again. It goes and comes up again. And so for me, I would say that it is what it is, but at least I would always do what I have to do for the children. There's a lot beyond what people say on social media. If you ride on it, you're going to go down by the thing. But I won't deny that the first few times were painful. But then thanks to my great support system, it's been so much better these days. Like now, all I do is, if I even see anything, I just block, or I mute. Or if I think that's maybe too toxic, I can just go out for a while and then come back later. So I have my own coping mechanisms, and I'm actually really fine.
I really hope when people listen to this conversation, they'll get a clarity of what you're. But like I said, people tend to bite at things they don't understand. And so even for me personally, I think a lot of understanding has come to me. I get a full picture of what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And thank you for not breaking your resolve. I'm wondering if whether you make time for anything else. What do you do when you're not in FTF?
That's so interesting because I think I actually have a very boring life.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I think maybe scrolling through social media or sleeping or just hopping on a call with somebody on a phone.
Or eating fufu.
Or eating fufu because that's my favorite food.
Kezia, thank you so much for what you do. And you're
you
a very sweet-spirited person.
Thank you. I try.
Please don't give up on what you're doing.
And
all the best. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Actually, I had been postponing this so many times, but I'm glad I came on. There's a lot of things that happen. I told you, and so sometimes things just become a lot because I'm involved in so many things. Even now, there's a global shapers too. The Global Shapers of the World Economic Forum. So it's also a group of change makers that try to come together to do stuff together. The head of state award scheme, FTF, being a lawyer, personal life, family, and all that. So I try to just balance everything. And it's not, trust me, it is not easy balancing them. I'm always trying to just see how best. I'm still learning. Yeah. So by God's grace, hopefully, in a few years come now, everything. See, when now I'll get my own PA.
Yeah, I don't talk to your PA.
I'll get my own PA. Our team will be hiring, so then more people can take some of the workload because even though people like to volunteer sometimes they also have their own 9 to 5, so they can only do as much as their time can give them. So thank you once again for the chance to speak up and bring clarity, and also to really share truly how the story of FTF has been, and also to get the platform to have others come on board for the future movements. We are for the future. Please just check us out. We are for the future.org, and then reach out to us on our socials. FCF Ghana, FCF Nigeria. We are FTF Global. Yes, we are building the FTF Village. That is the gated FTF community for and just imagine how glorious it will be when that day we are all there cutting the sword for all these children to have the chance to be there. It will be so beautiful. I'm sure I will shed a tear or two. You see, you are really believing in the thing. Like, it's so wild. It's so wild but possible. And you see, that is what makes it special. Yeah. The fact that it is not the typical way of doing the things, or even the typical orphanage kind of, because for me, I believe that even those in the orphanages should have the chance to feel a sense of like community. That is why I don't believe in keeping them there, just there. Get a chance to go home, be with your family. And for me, I also believe in influencing other children. So then I get the chance to be under FTS program. I go home, and we are training the children to also be leaders. Ethical leaders, so that when they go back, they can also teach 1 or 2 children to be part of the community. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening to this point. I know I can go on and on. I can actually, if you leave me, I can actually, if you leave me, I can actually talk the whole day. I always say that if you wake me up in the middle of the night, I can tell you how exactly FTF has been running from the beginning to now. I don't need to think it. I didn't prepare anything when I was coming. I didn't read anything. Everything's in my head. Yeah. Everything is here. All the ideas are in my head. Carrying it with me. So thank you. God bless you. And I hope to hear from all of you soon. Let me have some feedback on this.
Yeah. I think he's going to take care of like the 12 children, 2000.
Amen to that. May God give you the capacity to do.
He has the capacity, please. Right,
amen. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Friends in Accra and the world beyond. A very, very inspiring conversation with Kezia, and like I said, just build something, and I hope Esther inspired you to do the same. All right, you do it.